Hey guys! Today I wanted to do a Shoutout online comparison review on the light novel, the manga, and the anime adaptation. And the reason I held off doing this for so long was because Yenpress just recently published both the Aincrad arc for the manga and the light novel. The light novel came first, and this was the original story by Reina Kawahara and illustrated by Abek. The first novel only encompasses the arc with Aincrad, and I really liked the official translation for it. The reason I usually avoid light novel translations is because I found them really clunky online. I'm really grateful to fan subbers out there and fan translators who are doing all these fun things online for us, but at the same time, the grammar just isn't on par with the official translations. If you're paying money for it, it's going to be good, and I really recommend you try reading the light novel published by Yenpress because it is really good. You're still getting the same color illustrations here at the very beginning and the regular illustrations in the middle to depict some of the more intense scenes. And what I liked about the light novel is that it went into a lot more in-depth into the aspects of the MMORPG world, whereas in the anime it seems like you're watching a fantasy anime series. In the light novel it explains a bit more of how the SAO world kind of works from the player's perspective. This is partially due to the fact that the story is told from the first-person perspective of Kirito, who is the main character. And you are getting a bit more of Kirito's personality. He's not just the hero that fulfills his hero role like in the anime. He actually has some thoughts in the light novel, and you get a bit more of that. The first volume of the light novel only talks about the Aincrad arc. So from the moment that Kirito is inside SAO for the game release day opening, all the way to the end where he battles Heathcliff and he's about to wake up in the hospital. And it cuts out a lot of the arcs that the anime inserts. All the little stories we get in the anime are actually part of the second volume of SAO, which has short stories taking place inside the world. What the anime does is that it takes all the little events in book 2 and inserts them chronologically into book 1 so that the story flows at the same pace within the anime. This is just the Chinese adaptation of volume 2. At the time of this video, volume 2 is not officially out yet for North American readers. But you can probably look forward to that because Yenpress is going to work on that. This is what volume 1 looks like in the Chinese adaptation, and I got this originally last year because there was no official English translation, and I just wanted to read something that was officially edited and published, and I did have to stumble through some of the pages, so I'm really glad that this version came out. The only thing is this is a bit bigger than the original size of the book, I think. I believe the light novel in Japan is even smaller than this. The only thing is I'm pretty grateful for the color spreads that are in bigger print. Generally, this is really lightweight, so taking it around isn't really a problem, I found. In terms of the Sword Art Online manga, the character design is credited to Abek, and the original story is also credited back to Kawahara-san, but at the same time, the art in the manga is done by Tamako Nakamura, and it makes the characters look a bit more shonen and a little bit more kiddie-like, if I can put it in that way. And as much as the anime makes the characters look really two-dimensional, the manga does it even more because it is pretty thick and it's still breezing through the story. It's practically just skimming the top of what's going on. It seems more like an action fantasy than anything else. It's a bit more light in terms of how they handle death. I don't think it's that intense. They actually cut out the entire part with Sachi, and that's also because it's part of the second light novel. It's one of these short stories. They do include the arc with Yui because that was a pretty key moment in Asuna and Kirito's relationship, I think. And it does end with Aincrad finishing off and Kirito waking up. But in terms of the pacing, I didn't really like the manga just because I was really in love with the original light novel illustrations, and that's what made me want to read this series, and this just kind of botches it a bit, and it looks really different. But the thing with the manga is that because it's a video game setting, the manga helps you visualize the scenes a lot better. Because light novels don't have a lot of descriptive narratives, the manga helps put kind of these scenes into perspective. You can always go and rewatch the anime again while you're rereading the light novel. I found that the anime is probably the best medium for video game fantasy kind of stories, just because of all the elements of animation that helps the world come alive. Although the anime adaptation pacing is really awkward because they're trying to fit the first 4 volumes of SAO into the 25-26 episodes of the anime adaptation, still I think it's worth watching. Back to the first volume of the light novel, if you really liked Aincrad and the first part of SAO before they kind of like shook things up and threw Kirito in a fairy world, I think you'll really like this. It's straightforward in that you're not getting all those little short story interruptions like in the anime, but at the same time it goes a bit more in depth into the world of Aincrad and how people have kind of crafted their own societies, their own guilds, and you're getting a lot more of the relationship between Asuna and Kirito. Asuna is a lot more headstrong, I think, inside the light novel than she is in the anime when she's kind of just cast aside as the lead female love interest and nothing else. She's a bit more stubborn in the light novel, I found, and that's partially because Kirito's personality comes out as a more insecure kind of person. There's a moment in the light novel when, after Asuna and Kirito are married, Kirito asks Asuna if this relationship they have is just inside the world of Aincrad and whether or not like they'll get back together in the real world when they return. And Asuna kind of reprimands him and tells him that she doesn't fall in love that easily and that this thing is going to be real between them, and even if she does go back to the real world, she's going to find him and fall in love with him again. And I found that a really strong scene because Asuna's character comes out a lot more firm than in the anime or in the manga. She actually comes off as a really fluffy heroine in the manga, which is one of the aspects that I didn't like. Anyways, I hope you guys really pick up the first volume of Sword Art Online light novel because it is a really pretty good read. It's not fine literature, but it is really well translated and it's well edited. It is one of my favorites on the shelf right now because of how gorgeous the art is on the front. Thank you guys very much for watching. I hope you guys found this useful. And if you guys did like this video, don't forget to click like or subscribe below.